Alright, here we go with part 2 of the bike trailer build. If you remember from part 1, we completed the frame and made the system to mount it to the bike. That ended rather poorly. The pivot point here, when you put a load here in the trailer, you split the weight between this point here and the rear wheel of the trailer. That's a problem because it will actually pull the front of the bike up. In this part, what I want to do is move this pivot point here to the axle here. So if we distribute the weight between this axle and the rear wheel, it should be all good. If you have a look at trailers with similar designs, for example the Bobby Yak, you'll see that they have the same system where they put the weight of the trailer over the rear axle, and then they have one pivot point here to turn but not to tilt. So this one here, what I've got is the turn and tilt pivot point, and so we're going to create here just the turning portion and here the tilting portion. So this bike used to have a rack on the back, and you have these little mounting points from where the rack was mounted. They'll be perfect to use for our trailer. I've got a drawing here of what I want to do. So this is looking top down on the bike. So basically here we have the hub of the wheel. These are the spokes. This is the rim and the tire. The frame of the bike is here, that's the chainstay, and that's the seat stay. So kind of 3D view. The mounting points that used to be for the rack on the bike, we'll be able to put these bolts here inside. From there, we put 2 pieces of tubing here and here to go behind the rear wheel. This part here will be our old friend here, the headset, and the headset will be mounted to the trailer. Trailer will be here. The outside of the headset will be on the tubes that go here onto the bike frame, and the inside of the headset will be connected to the trailer. So we have to cut this guy in half again here to connect the trailer on this part, and we have to connect the bike frame on this part. To make all this work together, so if you have the bolt here, basically it's going to be the bolt threaded through the frame with probably a nut on the back side to fix it, and then another nut welded on the back side. And here will be a little gap where then if we look from the side view, this will be the tube going back to the trailer. And here we'll need to make some kind of bracket that drops over that bolt. So the bolt will be here with a nut on both sides to lock it in. And eventually some kind of mechanism, maybe with a spring to keep this locked in. But I didn't get that far yet. I think we'll start with just creating this part and then having a test again if it all works. The first job will be to install the bolts here. Right, these guys are all mounted up, both sides. Next step is on the trailer to lop this thing off. And we're going to cut this guy here and weld the trailer right here on the headset. That's cut off. That's also cut off. Now let's glue them together. That was a little bit of an ordeal, but we got the headset clamped up to the trailer, and now we can tack this thing up, or rather weld it up. And there we go. It's a little bit ugly at the moment, but we'll get this all nicely ground down. Found this bracket, which should do just fine for what we need. So I think from this hole I'll make a slot down like so. I'll lop this off here, make a little cutout for our tube here. All right, here's what we got going on. So I made these little brackets that fit over the bolts on the axle. And here I've assembled the headset. There will be 2 tubes per side to give it a little bit more support. We will weld everything up. So I did another think, and instead of radiusing these pipes or notching them out to fit the headset, I've forged one of them down like this. A little bend at the end, and I think that will work really well to just weld it onto the headset like that. Here we are on the second day. What I want to do is cut these guys off on this line so that they can pivot without hitting anything, and then we have to cut in a couple of little slots here for the tube to be able to go in there, similar to the dropouts here. So the tubes will be welded up over there the same as here. So basically there's a little cutout here that lets the tube drop in. So we gotta cut those out. And then we need to take the tubes, weld them up here. I've got everything more or less aligned so that the trailer is lined up, the bike, everything is kind of square how it should be. And I think I'll just tack these up in place here. Something like that. 2 tubes, one from the bottom here and one on the top. Let's go. Got the headset ready for welding. Also, I've cut the little pieces that connect to the bike frame. Now I'm going to forge the end of the pipes, the rest of them. Come on, focus, you piece of... These guys are all forged up. Now we can tack it up in place on the bike here. Something like that. There we are. Still need to finish the other side, but we need to get it off the bike for that. Took all this stuff apart and realized where my ground stripe was. Been welding through my headset bearings this whole time. They still feel okay though. A little bit crusty, but meh. To sharpen up the tungsten, you can chuck it up in a drill like this, and then take it to your grinder, set the angle that you want, and grind your tip. we've got the angle of this thing fixed up, so it was a little bit straight, which caused the trailer to be way too close to the ground, and I've tilted it forward slightly, thereby bringing the whole thing a little bit higher up on the bike. So the plan for these things is we're going to expand the slot a little bit bigger. Then inside that slot we're going to put this tube. So we're going to cut the tube in half this way. Cut it off around 12 millimeters from the top. And then weld 1/2 of the tube into this side and one into the other side. And the idea behind that is that it interfaces with these little pieces here on the bike. I went ahead and changed the nuts and bolt idea, so it's still the same bolt, but I've got this long kind of collared nut, and from here to here is around about 12 millimeters, and the OD of this is the same as the ID of the tube, so that'll drop on there really nicely. And then to lock the whole thing in place so that it can't come up, we're going to use this little piece of spring steel. Drill a hole in the bottom of this, so just under the nut that's on the bike. This will go in here, and I'll use one of these loops, probably bend it a little bit so that we can lock the loop onto a screw or something, or a bolt that's here. So you basically slip the pin in and lock it in. So I got the little half pieces of tube welded in here. I just tested it out on the bike. It fits quite nice, and it's ready for the little hole which needs to go down here for the pin. So there we go, got a little hole drilled for the pin. This is the pin. It'll slip in there. It'll lock onto a bolt that's here. Rightio, here we are. Everything is connected, everything is assembled. The little mechanism here seems to work. Come on. There we go. So you put the trailer on, you have these two little pins, one for each side. Goes in there, locks it onto the axle, then you fix it on this screw. The height is good, it's a little bit higher in the front, but it's mostly level. Really cool project, had a lot of fun building it. Hopefully you guys could learn from a few of my mistakes if you decide to do something like this yourself. And until then, see ya in the next one.